What the hell is up with the NFL? What a weird offseason this
really
is. Is it a bunch of fantasy football frat brothers sitting around coming up with these trades? Have they taken over the controls of the NFL? I mean, this is nuts. And I was joking on Tuesday that the next trade will be Kyler Murray to the Falcons. And that would have been far more plausible and foreseeable than out of the clear blue sky. We get word yesterday the Chiefs are shopping Tyreek Hill, talking to the Jets and the Dolphins. The Dolphins get Tyreek Hill, and the Chiefs get 5 draft picks, a 1, a 2, and a 4 this year, a 4 and a 6 next year, and also they avoid $72 million in fully guaranteed salary over the next 3 years for a guy who's 28 years old and inevitably will decline. They sell high to a team that is ready to incorporate Tyreek Hill into their offense. What was your first reaction? First thought that fired through the synapses in your brain when you saw Tyreek Hill traded to the Dolphins?
I mean, honestly, I think I was actually sad. I think that was the first, you had the, whoa, really? You had that moment, right? But my mind went to sadness a little bit. It's an end of an era. That's how I kind of looked at it. I mean, for me, Mahomes and Tyreek Hill is as special as a combination that we've seen from a quarterback wide receiver in the history of football. It's right up there with it as far as what they did through this period of time. And then I think the way they did it. I don't think we've ever seen a combination like this where, we had one guy that was really fast and we went, I don't know how good of a receiver he is. And then we got this quarterback that we come in and we're not sure, what he's going to be. But, man, he makes some crazy awesome throws in college. Okay, then they get put together and we get to see an offense and a style of play that, we talked a little bit about this yesterday, that we'd never seen before in the history of the NFL. And route combinations and a way of tacking that was not seen before. Deep, this guy's running a 40-yard corner route. And then we got 2 other guys on the other side running 40-yard post routes. And Mahomes is going to go from 40-yarder to 40-yarder to 40-yarder. And, hey, here goes Tyreek Hill's, reverse and speed sweeps. So I'm as a football historian and a guy that loves the game, I'm sad to see that era end because it's been a lot of fun. And it has been a special, special combination.
So why do you think the Chiefs did it? Now, they explained it yesterday, and it meshes with kind of what I was hearing. It's very simple.
Yeah.
Hill wanted so much money. They didn't want to pay it. So they get an opportunity to get 5 draft picks and avoid the obligation to keep paying Tyreek Hill at a time when they were wrapping up what was a fairly team-friendly contract for them. Now they're looking at Hill wanting $25 to $30 million a year, and I know the way the contract is structured, it looks like $30 million per year in new money, but a $45 million payout in the final year pushes that average up to $30 million a year. That's some of the tricks that get played by agents so they can have a better deal
3
that
years,
is attached
75,
to their name.
right? That's what we were really looking at.
That's basically what it is. It's 3 years, 75, right? And it's, as a practical matter, every penny guaranteed because there's $52 million guaranteed through next year.
Yeah.
And next March, the third year becomes guaranteed. That gets you to 3 and 75. The only way they avoid the third year is to cut him after one season and have $52 million in guaranteed money for one season of football.
Right.
After giving up 5 draft picks, they're not going to do that. Even if he has the worst season of his career, they're not going to flush him after 1 year and owe him $52 million and say, oh, well, we screwed up all those picks. F them picks, literally.
Exactly.
So here's kind of my bigger picture thought about this.
Yeah, let me hear it.
The Rams are the reason for this. F them picks is the reason for this because they won the Super Bowl being aggressive in their pursuit of veteran talent. They won the Super Bowl with a collection of guys that they went and got. Jalen Ramsey, F them picks. They give up multiple first-rounders to go get him. Matthew Stafford, multiple first-rounders to go get him. No first-rounder used since they traded up in 2016 to get Jared Goff. And when that mentality is successful, we've already talked about how many other teams will adopt the Rams' approach. Well, when it wins you Super Bowls, you are going to have other teams willing to adopt it. Ron Rivera, coach of the Washington Commanders, said at the scouting combine, as related to their quest for a new quarterback, nobody remembers what the Rams gave up for Matthew Stafford. Nobody cares. They won the Super Bowl.
Right.
So you've got some teams that are now thinking that way, Christopher. But in order to make it work, you need to have other teams that, number one, have veteran players, number two, want too much money in the estimation of their current employer, and number three, value those picks.
Yes.
As I said yesterday on PFTPM, you need one team that says F them picks, another team that says pluck them picks. And those two teams have to come together like peanut butter and chocolate in the old Reese's commercials where someone would accidentally jam an open Hershey's bar into a jar of peanut butter that for some reason had lost its lid. That's what you need to have happen. And so if everybody, and this is what's fascinating to me, maybe nobody else cares, I don't care. You need to have a certain number of teams with the Rams mindset.
Right.
And you need to have a certain number of teams with the Chiefs mindset. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So as the Rams mindset spreads, it can't spread so far that it overtakes the league because then you just got 32 teams looking to do trades for veteran players and all these teams saying, well, we're not getting rid of our veteran players. F them picks. We'd rather have our veteran player. So that's what's fascinating to me about it. You do have a spreading mindset thanks to the Rams, and it made its way to Miami. But you have the old school thought of I'd rather have the stack of unscratched lottery tickets at a low cost, thanks to the rookie wage scale. I dumped the $70 million that I would have had to pay Tyreek Hill over the next 3 years. I'd rather do this. I'll take my chances. Hey, Chris, remember what we said about the scouting combine? All those guys running 4.3s. Bad news for the veteran receivers. Oh, gimme. Now the Chiefs is, hey, we'll take this guy that runs a 4.3. We'll take that guy that runs a 4.3. One of them will become Tyreek Hill, the new Tyreek Hill, in an offense that features Patrick Mahomes. I think it's that simple.
Well, I don't doubt a lot of the things you're saying. Now, I will say, hey, we say, hey, they'll get the new Tyreek Hill, and I love Brett Veach and Andy Reid, but damn, Tyreek Hills don't grow on trees. They don't. It's a hard guy to replace here. We're talking about a guy that is, as dangerous as anybody we've seen in the history of football where we just go, you give him the ball 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage and we all go, here he goes, because we don't know what's going to happen. That's where he's special, and I don't know if you can replace him. That's what stinks about the whole scenario. Now, him with Mahomes and Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy and what they did was awesome to watch because Hill, he's irreplaceable in two ways. One, as we talk about a lot, Mike, during the season, the attention he creates. Everybody, when you play the Kansas City Chiefs, everybody's all right, we got to worry about Tyreek Hill. We got to worry about the 40-yard post route, the 50-yard post route, the go routes, the 30-yard crossing routes. Oh, then they have the little screen plays. Everything is about stop Tyreek, stop Tyreek, stop Tyreek. He affects the way defenses play the team in general to where they've stopped playing man-to-man against this Kansas City Chiefs because they just go, we can't do it. Nobody can match up with this guy. Super Bowl last year against the Buccaneers, the perfect example. First time around, screw it, we'll play man-to-man. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Whoa, 200 yards in the first quarter. So that's where it's going to be tough. Now, they're creative. They're a really good football team, and it's Andy Reid. But you're right, Mike. I think they're the team that's looking at it like, hey, this is what they do, Brett Veach and Andy Reid. They believe in their ability to draft, and then they pick and choose when they want to send some money from free agency. But I understand, why they couldn't make it work with Tyreek Hill, to a degree. First off, he's getting up there in age. We talked about before, Kansas City, they don't like to give contracts to guys that are second contracts to guys in their 30s. That's a real thing. I think it's a good formula. And he's 28. He lost, I would say, maybe a half a step last year. He's not like 3.5 rockets up his butt like usual. It was just 3 last year. All right, so there's that. But how many guys can they pay that top-tier market value to on your football team? Kelsey's what, 1 or 2, right? Mahomes, we know that's going to continue to get expensive here as we get in. It's team-friendly, though. Chris Jones is up there as far as top-tier market defensive lineman. They just traded for Orlando Brown last year. They're going to have to make him one of the higher-paid tackles in the history of football when that comes about. So they have some balancing of the checkbook, and I just think they drew a line in the sand there and said, wait, we can't cross this number. Okay, you don't want it. Fine, see ya. Start looking for a trade, and then here we are now sitting here talking about it.
And they know Tyreek Hill better than anyone.
Yeah.
That's part of this, too. The Dolphins don't really know him. And if this comes together pretty quickly, how much time do they really have to get to know him, to do their research, to figure out whether or not it's going to be a good fit, to figure out whether or not there are off-field concerns. And remember the thing a few years ago that prompted the drafting of Mecole Hardman in round 2. We assumed there was a connection between the two. There was a concern that Tyreek Hill was facing an off-field issue similar to the one that he faced at Oklahoma State that contributed to him getting kicked out of Oklahoma State. He pleaded guilty to strangling his then pregnant girlfriend. And I know there's questions about what after the fact. It's all sorts of stuff about whether he did or didn't do it. He pleaded guilty to it. That's all that matters in the eyes of the criminal justice system and in the eyes of the NFL. He fell to the 5th round because of that. So, I mean, the Chiefs know him. And remember the clip during, I think it was a playoff game, 2020, where he was starting to get in the face of an assistant coach. And they went to commercial, and it was like, what the hell was that?
Yeah, I think it was Greg Lewis, right? The ex-wide receiver
Yeah, it was
coach,
Greg
right?
Lewis.
Exactly.
That's right. The guy who caught the piss missile. I'm sorry, I know I'm not allowed to say that, from Brett Favre in 2009 when the Vikings beat the 49ers.
Yeah, that was a good one.
The throw was unbelievable. The catch was even more impressive because that thing was a rocket. So anyway, it was Greg Lewis and Tyreek Hill, and so they know. They know the whole person. They've been living with the whole person since he entered the league in 2016 as a 5th-round draft pick. They're making the conscious strategic decision, and they feel good about it. They feel good about the idea of moving on from Tyreek Hill now. And you said it accurately, the idea that they have plenty of guys that they pay a lot of money to. The Patrick Mahomes contract, frankly, is going to start looking better and better. It was team-friendly from the get-go.
Right.
It's going to look better and better as the cap keeps going up, as others start getting more money. It's going to be a smaller and smaller percentage of the cap that goes to Patrick Mahomes over the coming years. They're going to be able to afford other guys.
Yeah.
They just got to the point where they had to decide. Look, they could have done one more year with Tyreek Hill, unless he was going to hold out or something like that. But the way the CBA is now, that's not easy to do.
Right.
He was under contract for one more year. They could have franchise tagged him and traded him like the Packers did with Devontae Adams after the season. They could have said, we're doing it one more year. Look at the Chargers. Look at the Broncos. Look at the Raiders. We need to have our full arsenal for one more year. We're doing it for one more year. They voluntarily take a step back at a time when everyone else in their division is taking a step up. That's what's odd about this. The timing, right? You've got these other 3 teams loading the cannon to come get you, and you just pulled out your biggest cannonball, one of your biggest cannonballs, and rolled it down the hill.
No, I mean, you're right. It's not easy staying at the top of the mountain, and they've been at the top of that AFC mountain for 4 or 5 years now. And I think they're in a little bit of now like, hey, it's, of course not a rebuild, but you're trying to replenish your team once again to, give it a new shelf life to go, let's make another run and see if we can't be towards the top of the AFC here for, another 4 or 5 years. And I think that's kind of the process they're in right now. They're kind of in that flux state of, wait, old team that won the Super Bowl, we got some guys there, but, right, we got the future here, and old team that won the Super Bowl is not going to be new team that wins future Super Bowls. We got to start getting new guys in here. And I think that's the way they probably looked at it. So that's where, it was tough as far as Tyreek Hill. And you're right. They could have, one more year, but, causes issues. The play is still phenomenal to where the market's probably as good as it's ever going to be for a guy like Tyreek Hill. So I understand when they got to that contract impasse of them thinking, all right, then we've gone beyond the limit. We feel that we're comfortable with organizing our football team. I also got to think the Chiefs, something you brought up, Mike, a little bit, got to feel, I'm not saying hometown discount or whatever, but, you said it. They drafted a guy that a lot of teams weren't going to draft. I mean, they took a chance on a guy. They gave a guy a second contract during, some of these issues and still did it and supported him. So, I'm sure they're disappointed with the fact that they felt like they put their best foot forward for Tyreek Hill in a lot of years there, and they couldn't come to a deal. But, Brett Veach and Andy Reid, they're no idiots, and they had a number in mind that was the limit, and then obviously Tyreek Hill went above that limit.
Yeah, went above that limit, wouldn't come down, so they decide, let's get what we can while we can. And I wonder how much they're using the argument, the old Patriots Tom Brady argument on other players. Who do you think you are? Tom Brady isn't taking every last penny. Tom Brady did a team-friendly deal. If he does a team-friendly deal, you can do a team-friendly deal. I don't want to get into our whole selfish or not selfish discussion.
Yeah, I was just about to say, let's do that again, right?
But I could see that mindset creep into the conversation.
Sure.
Hey, we've got a star quarterback who did not insist on getting every last penny.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Mahomes' deal is ridiculously team-friendly. It stretches into the next decade. And it was all done, I think, well, there are different theories about why it was done. One theory is his agent Lee Steinberg wanted to be able to say, I got a $500 million contract,
right,
regardless of how long it tied his guy up. I mean, I could announce a $500 million contract, too, with NBC. I am under contract in that event until the year 2500, but still, it would be a $500 million contract.
Yes.
So there are ways to do this. But at the same time, that mindset may have been part of what the Chiefs were thinking with Hill. We've supported you. We've taken a chance on you. We've
right,
stood behind you.
Right.
We have a quarterback who is not a pig at the trough. You should not be a pig at the trough if you want to stay here.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.